That's what's so dope about hip hop, yo, is that like it's global.
Yep.
This is a global culture, and it doesn't like segregate anybody. The like biggest thing is like just be dope.
Yep.
Be fresh in what you do, and you could be a part of this and get recognized. And also bring who you are. You're gonna reach your full potential and be your freshest when you're your most authentic self. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, be a part of hip hop, but be a part of hip hop from where you come from. Like.
Welcome, everyone. This is Jermaine Jackson, producer here at Daybreak Star Radio, the only station indigenizing the airwaves. And today, I have the wonderful pleasure of speaking with a wonderful and established artist and MC, I Am Artson. He's been spitting rhymes since his younger days in El Paso, Texas, and he'll be performing this upcoming April 25th in Albuquerque, New Mexico for the 13th annual Gathering of MCs release party. He has some albums, Queendom and Stay Strong, which are currently available on all streaming platforms right now, and we are excited to get an inside look at his journey. Artson, welcome, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. How are you doing today?
Peace, everyone. My name is Artson. I'm a Raramuri. That's the running people from Chihuahua, Mexico. I was born in El Paso, Texas. I lived in Las Vegas for a good amount of time, maybe like 15 years, moved to LA for like 15 years, and I just moved back to Las Vegas.
So, when did you first discover your love for music and hip hop, and what initially drew you to it?
Breaking was the first thing that I did, and I still do. I've been breaking my whole life, like, and so that was my first love and my first introduction to hip hop was seeing breaking, and then it was the music, and then I seen uh, the graffiti, the writing on the walls, and then um, I saw the DJing, and then I saw rapping later on. It was just people freestyling on the block. All of everything, all the first hip hop I saw was just in my neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't like, outside. It was all in the neighborhood that where I first saw it, heard it, and experienced it. And this was as a youth. And then I didn't really start writing raps until like junior high. And
Okay.
that's when we had a in English class we had to do poetry, and I didn't want to do poetry, so I did. I wrote some raps, and then the guys at school that that were already rapping and writing raps heard that I did a rap for my class, and then it was just on from there. They were like, "Yo, we heard you were rapping. We need to hear it." And then like, all right, we next period you're gonna write another rap. And then it just became back and forth and exchanging, and then so it kind of just grew like that until the point where I was writing every day.
Kind of West Coast influence or like East Coast influence, or you listen to everything like we like us?
Personally, at that time, I was listening to a lot of East Coast stuff,
Okay.
but it was both. We were listening to both. Like it was like everything was around, right? But I
Yeah.
was like, because I was breaking already at a young age, like it was it was like a lot of it was like East Coast
East Coast. Yep.
influence,
Yep.
like listening to break beats and like stuff like that. So my early influence was a lot of East Coast, and I liked lyricism. So I was like, I was listening to a lot of like East Coast cats that were like really spitting. And then I liked West Coast stuff too, but it also was like I liked like when NWA came out, and I really liked Ice Cube,
Mm-hmm.
and then it became like Far Side, Hieroglyphics, Adele the Funky Homo Sapien, Souls of Mischief,
Yep. Yep.
and it became
Those are
that vibe.
mischief. Yep.
It became that vibe of like West Coast stuff that I liked. You know what I'm saying? And one of my biggest West Coast influences is actually Paris. I don't know if you heard of Paris, but
Paris with SH.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
Paris. Yeah, he's for more of a like a Bay Area, from the Bay Area, but he's like a really political, like he was really like he had a big movement like that where like he was like knowledge based, like political, what's happening, in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like That was my big West Coast influence. Aside of him and Ice Cube, like Ice Cube had that same mentality of like what's going on in the streets, what's happening in the political world, what's happening to our
Yeah.
people. So it's always been like that for me, like more of like a conscious mind state of like, what's going on with us.
So how has your cultural heritage influenced your journey in music?
I grew up like in the hood, like
Yep, yep.
no, so I didn't grow up like with tradition or nothing. It was always kind of like given to me in like spurts by my family, like, hey, we're this, we're that, but it wasn't like teachings.
Yeah.
And so hip hop led me to like learn, because like I put when I was young, I was doing these things, expressing myself, and it was late as later on it started to make sense to me like, oh, this is what our people do. We've been dancing. We've been connecting to that energy on the earth. We've been listening to the drum. We've been making this circle of a cipher and coming together and vibing like that. We've been telling the story of our people through music and song. We've been doing these things. We've been painting on the walls. We've been doing that. It's been for a long time. So to me, it made sense and it clicked. Like, oh, and it woke my DNA up to be more curious to find out who my people are, where we come from, the things that we do, the art that we did, the dances we did, the songs we did, the flutes we played, the drums we hit, you know. So hip hop led me to like be curious, and learn and be like, oh, we're star people. And then on top of it, the elders that I was around in hip hop, the they were speaking in those ways of like we're doing something that's ancient, like this is something that has a further reach than just what you're seeing as like hip hop, you know what I mean? And like
Mhm.
so they were already telling those stories of like, no, we're doing something ancient. And they were like, when you if you're going to be a part of this, then you should bring your culture into this, because this is like all for all people, like you got to bring your story.
Can you share like a standout moment in your career so far that has helped shape you as an artist?
But we were in Oklahoma, and on Father's Day, and I got to go into the sweat with Cool Herc,
Oh yeah?
who's the founder of like one of the founders of hip hop, and so like he's like, like they say like the father of hip hop, and so like I got to go in the sweat with Cool Herc, and so that was like clarification that like, oh, like I'm doing the right thing, like.
You're on the right
And
path.
it was a big deal for me because it was like connection to our ways in prayer, to creator and spirit. And then also like I'm in there doing like with hip hop,
Yep,
and
yep.
it was like that connection. So that was a big moment for me. And like that really like solidified a lot of everything I've done in life. I think it's the people that I met. It's not really like necessarily moments, but it's like the
Mhm.
people that I met. I guess those are moments, but it's being around certain people that kind of shifted me. Earlier on in my life, it was my cousins and my stepbrother and my cousins they were the first ones that I thought were like the freshest, like, oh, these cats are like nice. Our family's nice. I saw my cousin win one of the at the time one of the biggest battles in my city, and for me as a young kid, it was like, yo, my family just won the 2-on-2. They made it to the finals in the crew, and my cousin won the 1-on-1. And so to me, I
Breaking
was,
battle?
yeah, breaking battles. And
Oh,
I was like, to me, I was like, this is what our family does. We're that dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what we do. Moving away from the hometown and meeting other b-boys that were like doing big things. So it's like my boy b-boy Ivan. He was the first one that showed me video cassettes of like really dope b-boys from around the world. And then it was meeting Style Elements, who are big in who I'm a part of now. Style Elements crew. I'm in the crew Style Elements, and it was
okay.
meeting them at the time. Style Elements crew from they're from Northern California, and so it was meeting them, like meeting Poe, meeting Quality, who's a big mentor in my life, and who's helped me with my music career tremendously. He's the one who like kind of opened me up to like really pushing my artistry to another level. Then it became rock steady. learning from Mr. Wiggles, being around like the Elders Fable and Mr. Freeze, and learning, getting gems from like that side. And then it was like being tapping in with the indigenous community, which was another big shift in my life that like led me up to, open me up more for who I am more, and led me in that way.
What's been one of your biggest challenges you faced in your career, and then how did you overcome that?
Not having people around me that believed in me as a youth,
Yeah.
and like when I was young, first of all, it was kind of new, like there wasn't a lot of standards to show that this could do something, and
Or no breaking in the Olympics like it is right now.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
it was all in the street. Like I said, everything I learned was in the street, so
Yeah, or
like
like at the rec center or Boys and Girls
y-
Club.
not even
Oh,
then,
y'all didn't have
not
that?
not even then, man. It was like we're talking 80s, man. So
Oh,
like
okay, okay. I
there was like
yeah.
there was none of that. No schools to learn. There was no studios, no rec centers. No, it was not. It was just straight up in the street. So already it kind of looked crazy to parents and teachers because it's like, what are y'all doing? What is this? What's happening? So I kind of get it that there was like no belief. I kind of understand. Like all my teachers, man, were like, this is not going to get you nowhere. You're not going to do nothing with this. You can't do this for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
This is not a job. Like I heard all those things, like you're being a bad kid, you're in the street, you're doing I heard all those things of like trying to break me down. But I ended up being able to prove all that wrong, you know what I'm saying? And like be like, yo, I'm still doing it right now.
Yep.
I'm still breaking it. And it's taking me to places that I never thought I would go. Like I wasn't supposed to leave my city, you know what I'm saying? Like I was supposed to be like there working construction, and but I took my family's work ethics and put it into hip hop, and I was like, I'm gonna take my family, what we do, how we work, but into this, into my craft. And it took me all over the place, man. Like I've been so many places, and fortunately, what I'm saying, because of what I do, because of my expression, So that was one of the struggles, was just getting past all of the non-believers, you know what I'm saying, and be like, no, like I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
That was like my first big struggle.
So what keeps you motivated during like tough times?
What we're doing and the way we express is medicine, and it heals us, you know what I'm saying, and that's why like when I said earlier that like it connected to my culture by the arts that we do, dancing, writing on the walls, singing our songs and chants, and listening to the drum, and coming together as a people to make a circle to dance in that energy.
Yeah.
Like those are the things that we've done, that we've always been doing for a long time, and the reasons why is because it's healing, it's medicine, like
Yeah.
it's natural, it's what we do naturally as a people to uplift ourselves, and it's there for you, it's there for the people to like express yourself. And it's a big thing that I teach with the youth, is that you have to express your emotions. You can't hold them in and bottle them in, because then if you bottle them in, that then it can hurt you,
Hmm.
because you're not releasing it. If I didn't have all these things, I could have been a troubled kid,
Hmm.
and I still got in trouble. There was still troubled times, but it could have been way worse if I didn't have these things to express myself. It's like every time I was going down a path that was headed in the wrong direction, hip hop was pulling me back into the right direction, and I would be like, oh, I'm going this way, doing things I shouldn't be doing, and then it was like, nah, keep expressing, keep expressing. So that's the inspiration for me, man. Is that like I need this.
What advice would you give to young indigenous artists who have dreams of pursuing, music or whatever?
No one's gonna give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Like no one gave me this. You know what I'm saying? No one gave me the like here. This is how like yo. I sacrificed my life to make it happen, and so it's hard work, but it's possible, and you could enjoy the journey. but
Yeah.
it's hard work, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's the only thing, it's like, yeah, it's possible, but put in the work.
Yeah.
Stop, stop.
You gotta take
Yes.
that action.
Yeah, man. Like I wish when I was younger too, maybe my teenage years, when I was a little bit more mischief, that I wish that I would have been more focused. Like I wish I had the focus I have now, you know what I'm saying, as a teenager. And I wish I was like that razor focus, and I could be, but I was like still wanting to like hang out and wild out and like, party a little bit and like get into trouble. And like I wasn't completely focused on what I wanted. I didn't
Yeah.
even know. I didn't even know there was like that much focus,
I
like
feel
no
like
was no.
a lot of us are like that age though.
Yeah, but I think that no, I think it goes back to like there wasn't people to tell us or show
Yeah.
us, and I think that now there's people that are successful, and like you could just point to them and be like, look, this is how they did it, this is how they did, this is what, even within our communities, like this is our people that are killing it right now. This is, like we got this person that's killing it, that person that's killing it. There's things to show them and be like, you could do this if you put in the work. I had everyone telling me it was impossible. Like, so now I'm on like, nah, let's tell the youth it's very possible. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, let's show them dreams are achievable, man. Like, I feel that. I feel like with our youth, it's like an important thing for them to know is that like it's not impossible. It's very possible.
Yeah.
But you got to sacrifice and do the work. And it's not gonna be easy, but it's very possible.
Yeah.
And when you get there, create the next dream. All my social media is I Am Artson. All my music is available on iTunes and Spotify, all over. Artson's the name, so just
Yeah.
like tap in, reach out. Peace world, this is Artson from the Raramuri Nation. You're listening to Daybreak Star Radio.